rude. You got it, dude. Oh my Lanta. Cut it out. Have mercy. Hey guys, it's Kristen, and today I am wearing this really awesome, really old Backstreet Boys shirt that I totally don't wear all the time because I wanted to feel like a 90s kid. We're throwing it back to Full House with Netflix's new original series, Fuller House. We all know the classic story of Full House. Danny, Uncle Jesse, Joey all lived together taking care of 3 little girls, and then the family just got bigger and bigger. Fuller House has that same dynamic, that same setup. You have DJ, she's basically the Danny Tanner. She's a veterinarian, she is a mother of 3, and her husband just died. And she was having kind of a difficult time because she's never had to do all of this on her own before. Then you have Stephanie, who is basically the Uncle Jesse. She's a musician, she's a DJ. You have Kimmy, who's the Joey. She's really, the comic relief, very goofy, and she's a party planner. And she also has her own daughter and an ex-husband. And the 3 of them are living together in the old house, taking care of things. And the first episode, the whole family's back together again. Jesse appears, Becky appears, Danny appears, Joey appears, even Nikki and Alex, which I thought was kind of funny to see them come back. Everyone makes an appearance, but they're not like main characters on it. And that's like fine. I mean, I wanted it to be more of like all of them back together again, but I think the problem that I had with it was I just wish that they had done a better job of kind of creating the stories around the situations of why they come back to visit. There was one episode where they had Joey babysit, and it's like Joey just moved to Las Vegas, so he literally flew an airplane back just to babysit for one night. There's no better story around that situation. And every single time anybody from the original cast came back, it was like this huge hug fest. But it got to the point where it was just like, enough already. There was just some references to nostalgic things like the hugging or, some one-liners that I just thought that they did too much of, where it was like, oh, we can't think of anything else to reference, so let's just say how rude 50 times, or let's just hug 50 times. There were some times, don't get me wrong, where the jokes landed really well, nostalgic moments landed and it was funny, but there were some moments where it didn't, and the same thing with the Mary-Kate and Ashley jokes. There were some that were kind of funny. There was one where Kimmy's daughter is having a birthday party and they get her this designer dress and they're like, oh, it's an Elizabeth and James designer dress by Mary-Kate and Ashley, and then Kimmy makes a joke about how like, oh, well, with these prices, no wonder they don't need to go back into acting, and something like that. It was like, kind of a little bit of a jab at them, but it was kind of funny. But there was one, I think it was in the first episode, where they were like, oh, where's Michelle? Oh, she's running her fashion empire in New York, and then all of them just like stared at the camera, like stared, broke the fourth wall, and it was so awkward. I was like, ugh. I just thought it was cheesy, and I thought some of the choices that they made for different things were like not a good choice. There's this one part where Kimmy is planning a retirement party for DJ's boss, and he decides that he wants it to be an Indian theme. There was just some jokes about turbans and things that I thought were culturally insensitive, and it seemed like cultural appropriation. I thought it was offensive. It just seemed out of nowhere and out of place, and I didn't really think that it was a good episode. On the other side of that, I did think there were a couple of things they did well in bringing a little bit more diversity into the show. Kimmy's ex-husband is Hispanic, so her daughter is also Hispanic, and I thought that was cool. Her daughter Ramona definitely talked a little bit about her culture and spoke in Spanish sometimes. Her best friend is Asian, which I thought was another really cool addition to just bring a little bit more diversity into a show that over the years has been very white. So I really enjoyed that. In terms of the new kids on the show, I thought they were pretty good. I thought the girl that played Ramona was really talented. I know that she's a dancer, and they incorporated some of that into her character. Again, I liked the diversity there, that she was Hispanic. In terms of DJ's kids, the older son was kind of similar in a way to DJ was as a kid. He's the older sibling and doesn't want his little sibling around. The middle son, when we first are introduced to him, he seems like he's gonna be like a Danny Tanner, very into cleaning and very like proper. But I felt like as the season went on, I thought he lost that a little bit and just kind of became hyper. And then the baby was a baby. I mean, he wasn't really in the episodes that much. I thought it was funny in the episodes where he kept looking up at the ceiling. Everyone was like, what is he looking at? One thing I would have liked to see a little bit more of is maybe a couple more people from the past come in and making guest appearances. But now that I'm thinking about it, some of the people that I wanted to see come back were actually friends with Michelle, so that probably would not have worked out since she wasn't on the show. But, you know, I'm sure there's other characters that could have been brought back. There were some guest stars, Max and Val from Dancing with the Stars, which was kind of random but also fun. Also in that episode was Macy Gray, and I am sorry, but Macy Gray was really, really not good in the episode. It was super awkward. It was painful to watch. I thought that's how awkward it was. I want to get into the love triangle between Steve, Matt, and DJ. So Steve is, you know, classic Steve from the original Full House. We all know and love him. And then Matt is this new veterinarian that DJ works with. And, you know, of course there's this love triangle there. And I have to say, I was starting to root for Matt because I thought Steve's character seemed really different than what I remembered him as. He seemed very, you know, jealous and kind of aggressive, but in like a weird way. It got to the point where I was like, Steve, you used to be like the OTP with DJ, but you're being a little too much. Like, chill out. And then it was literally a recycled storyline. The same exact story that DJ had with Viper and Nelson, she had with Matt and Steve, where she, you know, couldn't choose which guy, and then she decided to choose no guy. And I'm like, why? Do we need to do that again? We already did that storyline. That felt like a cop-out to me. I was expecting it to happen because it seemed very, you know, cliche, and that's where it was going, and I was like, oh, great, I'm right. I didn't really want to be right. We already did that on Full House. Overall, I just really was expecting more from Fuller House. I didn't think it lived up to the original series. I mean, if I were Mary Kate and Ashley, I'd be like, whew, dodged a bullet with that one. What was great about Full House is that, you know, it was this family that was so close-knit, and there was all these like touching moments that were relatable, and I just didn't really feel that for this series. I don't think that it was as good as it could have been. Would I watch another season? Maybe. I mean, it was so quick to binge watch because it's all half-hour episodes. I might watch more if there was more episodes. You know, again, there were some moments that I thought worked and some moments that I just thought didn't. But I would love to know what you guys thought about Fuller House. Leave a comment below, tell me your thoughts, you know, whether you agreed with me or didn't. I would love to have a discussion in the comments with you guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and click that subscribe button because I come out with new videos every week. See ya!